On the news tonight, former Taraba State Governor Jolly Nyame sentenced to 14 years imprisonment over misappropriation of 1.64 billion naira. In business, Saudi Arabia and Russia agreed to pump more crude oil. And on the foreign scene, Zimbabwe is set to hold presidential election on July 30th. Hello and welcome to Superscreen Flagship News, broadcasting live from Lagos State, Nigeria. I am Olamide Omuka. Many thanks for joining us. Justice Adebukola Banjoko of the Federal High Court in Abuja has sentenced a former governor of Taraba State, Jolly Nyame, to 14 years imprisonment for misappropriating the sum of 1.64 billion naira preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The former governor, whose name goes with the appellation of a church title of Reverend, was convicted on a total of 27 out of the 41 counts preferred against him. Nyame was convicted and sentenced to various terms of imprisonment, with the highest being 14 years for offenses bordering on criminal breach of trust, taking valuable things without consideration, and receiving gratification as a public officer. Justice Banjoko sentenced Nyame without an option of a fine. Report says the sentences were the maximum provided by the laws under which Nyame was charged in May 2007. The judge, while dismissing his lawyer's plea for mercy, described the act of convict as likely to be the most audacious by any chief executive of any state. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on Nigerians to take their permanent voters card registration seriously ahead of the 2019 general elections. President Buhari disclosed this at the Presidential Villa Abuja during the breaking of Ramadan fast with members of the judiciary led by Justice Olukayode Ariwola of the Supreme Court. The President also urged state governments to continue to embark on voters' education across their various states. Nigerian citizens have continued to reflect on the state of Nigeria's democracy. A cross-section of respondents who spoke to Superscreen television on the nation's state of democracy expressed dissatisfaction, urging the present administration to make efforts at improving every sector of the Nigerian economy.
The charismatic wartime president of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, defined democracy as the government of the people, by the people and for the people. But democracy, as rightly defined, is the system of government by the whole population or all the eligible vote members of the state, typically through elected representatives. As Nigerians celebrate its 19th Democracy Day, citizens appear not to be satisfied with the nation's state of democracy, especially as it concerns the living standards.
I won't say I'm rather satisfied, nor every other citizen in this country, because people find things difficult to do, to achieve things. Even for some people to feed 3 square meals is very difficult. It's only the lucky ones. Although the current government may say they are trying, but to some extent it's not translating to what the majority of the citizens really wanted. We have to maintain the democracy regime, but our leaders just have to do more to put things right.
For the past 19 years that we started this democracy, so much has been achieved and so much are yet to be achieved. There is room for us to improve even far beyond what we are currently doing. In terms of the dividend of democracy, I believe that government can still do much better to give us better welfare, better security, better way of living, so that the common man will be able to enjoy the dividend of democracy.
With 19 years of unbroken democracy, Nigerian citizens believe more needs to be achieved from different sectors of the nation.
All areas, all sectors of the economy in the country, like the power, the oil sector also, and every other sectors, they just have to improve everything and be sincere to all Nigerian citizens.
talk of agriculture, talk of educational sector. I was in a meeting this morning. We're talking about the educational sector of Nigeria. It's nothing to write home about. The way the teachers are being treated, the way schools are being left without help, let me just put it like that, from the government. And if you look at it these days, even people are not even waiting for the government just to make things happen for themselves.
Security, agriculture, because if our agriculture is good, or we can allow food to enter, at least we can eat food.
Improvement can start in virtually every aspect of our economy. For example, in terms of agriculture, the food that we are getting in Nigeria should be more cheaper so that the poverty level can be reduced.
They equally gave their advice to the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari.
The only candid advice one can give to our federal government is to be sincere, to be transparent. Whatever they say they will do, they should do it. People should not just go there, occupy the seat, embezzle money, chasing themselves here and there every day. Nothing is being done. They should just take action, do what they want to do.
If there's anything I would advise the government to do, I think they travel, they go out of this country and they see how things are done. They should just bring it in, implement it here, we'll be fine.
Anybody that eats 3 times a day, we forgot some certain things. But whereby you didn't eat, what are you going to plan? Nothing is moving. So I'm telling them if there's a way they can do things so that we can be able to enjoy.
Expectations are high that under this dispensation, when Nigerians will be celebrating our 20th Democracy Day, more would have been achieved for Nigerians to stand successful among nations that have grown under democratic system of government.
The senators asked the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Atahiru Jaga, to mention the names of committee members who seek bribe at the National Assembly. The call followed the point of order raised by Senator representing Bauchi Central, Issa Michal. Jaga had accused the federal lawmakers of seeking bribes to carry out the constitutional duties, stressing that the chairmen of committees in the National Assembly are martyrs and notorious for bribe-taking antics. He made the accusation while delivering this year's Democracy Day lecture at a gathering in Abuja. The senator representing Kachia Kagako Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, Adams Jagaba, has defected from the All Progressives Congress to the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Jagaba formally announced the defection in his letter to the House of Representatives at the plenary today. The lawmaker said he left the APC following the suspension from the party at the state level for being vocal against the killings of innocent Nigerians across the country. Embattled Senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melai, attended Senate plenary today wearing a neck plate and holding a walking stick after weeks of absence. You will recall that Melai had been involved in a case with the Nigerian police, which landed him in the hospital. Melai thanked his colleague members of the House of Representatives and the Nigerian populace for standing by him during his travail with the Nigerian police, whom he described and accused of wanting to take his life on 2 different occasions. In what appears to be a dramatic defection to the PDP, the senator requested a seat at the opposition wing of the chamber and announced he would sit beside Senator David Mark.
Police attempted to kill me twice. One through the application of a chemical substance, and the second time through injection. They actually came with an injection to inject me, but God intervened, and to him alone be the glory forever and ever. Politics have been shown to be not to be individualistic, but to be about issues and purpose. So to the national chairman of PDP, and indeed the executive of People's Democratic Party in Kogi State, I salute you, I salute you, I salute you. I want to thank Nigerians in general for showing me uncommon love, for showing me that they can stand by the truth at all times. I thank Nigerians, I thank Nigerians, I thank Nigerians, and I cannot stop thanking Nigerians. Mr. President, I want to seek your indulgence that you will call undecided as am to look for a comfortable seat for me on this side of the divide, because I am no longer comfortable sitting here. So I want to ask Mr. President that you mandate the Senate that I am for tomorrow to look for a seat for me on this other divide of the chamber. And that before you do that today, through the help of my walking stick, I will take a comfortable seat close to Papa General Senator David Mark, pending when you get me a comfortable seat on this side. I want to thank you very much. I say no retreat, no surrender. Thank you.
Mixed reactions trailed this decision to sit at the opposition wing of the chamber.
Mr. President, the professor made mention that there are some committee chairmen of the National Assembly, they are notorious for demanding or collecting bribe, which I feel is unfortunate for somebody as a leader, somebody that is well respected, to come and make a statement that he was told by some executives and some professors in the academy, in the universities. And I feel that kind of statement is very worthy, because that program was televised live. And I feel this Senate, not only Professor Jega, I think anybody that will make statement concerning the credibility of other chairmen, I think he should be bold enough to mention the committee chairman.
It will be wrong and unfair to Dino. So I want to join this Senate to ensure that Dino's rights privileges are protected and he gets the best possible comfort, if in no other place, but indeed the narrow chambers of this Senate.
Of note is that Malai is yet to formally defect to the PDP, as he would be required to write the Senate President informing him of his decision to move to the party. Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has accused the All Progressives Congress (APC) of allegedly plotting to rig the July 14 governorship elections in cahoots with the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Fayose alleged that the APC and INEC had struck a deal to disenfranchise 50% of the Ekiti electorate by heavily preloading the smart card readers. He also alleged that thousands of voters would be disenfranchised in Ikere Ekiti and Ado Ekiti. Fayose claimed that the APC has been distributing what he described as fake empowerment forms to lure voters to vote for APC. And still in Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi has resigned as the Minister of Solid Minerals Development. The minister, who publicly disclosed his resignation at a press conference, said President Muhammadu Buhari accepted his resignation, which he turned in a few days ago. Fayemi emerged candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in the upcoming governorship elections in Ekiti State on May 12. Meanwhile, the Rivers State High Court, sitting in Port Harcourt and presided over by Chinwendu Nwogu, has nullified the rescheduled ward and the local government and state congresses of the All Progressive Congress (APC). Nwogu ruled that the process that led to the emergence of Ojukaya Flag Amakari as Rivers chairman of APC is fraudulent. The presiding judge stated that the congresses had to be declared null and void in view of the alleged contempt of court and arm twisted of the judiciary by some leaders of the APC. Some supporters of Senator Magnus Abe, who filed the suit, alleged that they were disenfranchised during the congresses by allies of the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi. And the Senate has asked the security agencies involved in the arrest and detention of juveniles to ensure that they are not incarcerated beyond 48 hours. The upper chamber said if convictions are cured and secure, the security agencies should ensure that juveniles are separated from adult inmates. It urged the federal government to establish more juvenile remand and correctional homes to cater for offenders below the age of 18 years. The Committee on Interior was also asked to investigate the confinement of underage offenders and infants with adults in the various prisons and report back within 4 weeks. And the former Abia State Governor, Orji Uzor has filed a no-case submission in this trial for alleged money laundering. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, rearraigned Kalu and the former Director of Finance in Abia State Government House Udeogu and Slok Nigeria Limited on 34-count charge of laundering 3.2 billion naira. EFCC closed its case on May 11th with Justice Muhammad Idris of the Federal High Court in Lagos adjourned for the defendants to open their cases. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, is working with states in the north to reduce the number of out-of-school children in the region. Education specialist Azuka Menkiti disclosed this in a presentation at a two-day media dialogue on Educate a Child and CTP in Sokoto State. Menkiti said the cash transfer program, which was introduced in 2014, has increased girls' enrollment by 61% in Sokoto and Niger and also contributed in the retention of pupils in schools. She also said the organization is implementing its cash transfer program in Sokoto, Niger, Zamfara and Kebbi states to boost enrollment in schools within the region. Coming up on Superscreen Flagship News, Saudi Arabia and Russia agreed to pump more crude oil. That's on the foreign scene. These and many other stories coming your way after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Superscreen Flagship News, and for some business stories. Oil prices steadied on Wednesday as Saudi Arabia and Russia confirmed they will pump more crude oil in response to falling global crude oil inventories and rising consumer prices. Saudi Arabia and Russia have discussed raising OPEC and non-OPEC production by 1 million barrels per day to counter potential supply shortfalls from Venezuela and Iran. Brent crude was up 1 cent at $75.40 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 10% at $66.83 a barrel. OPEC-led supply curbs have largely cleared an inventory surplus in industrialized countries, and stocks have continued to decline in recent times. Still in business, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, the Secretary General Mohammed Barkindo says the global oil industry should ramp up investment to ensure it copes with the future consumption growth and avoids supply shortages. OPEC and other producers led by Russia last year began withholding 1.8 million barrels per day of supplies to tighten the market and prop up prices that fell 2016 to their lowest in more than a decade at less than $30 a barrel. Barkindo said the required oil sector is in the period to 2040 is estimated at about $10.5 trillion to meet future oil demands expected to surpass 111 million barrels per day. Report says Russia, the OPEC leader, and the Saudi Arabia have spoken about the need for a gradual increase in oil production as the goal of removing excess oil stockpiles has now been achieved and the market has broadly been balanced. And now the Niger State government has announced that it will spend over 50 billion naira on the reticulation of Mina, Suleja and Bida, as well as Katagura waterworks. Governor Abubakar Bello, who disclosed this to journalists, said the state government will go into the public-private partnership to ensure adequate water supply in major towns in the state. You will recall that the state government had in 2016 declared a state of emergency on the water sector, starting with Kashanga Waterworks. Bello said the government had spent 2 billion naira on the purchase of 60 water pumps and other equipment from Germany for the Kashanga Waterworks. Still ahead tonight, Zimbabwe is set to hold the presidential election on July 30th. That's all on the foreign scene. There's many more stories coming your way after this break.